It's Sunday morning with Mark Sainsbury.
Okay, business time here on Sunday morning with the good doctor, Harold Hillman. Of course, author, celebrity speaker, leadership coach. He's done it all. Lured out here by Fonterra and never went home.
That's right, Mark.
All the better for us. How are you, Harold? Look, don't forget Harold's website is sigmoidcurve.com. Now, I love this sort of, there's, again in sport as well, there's always these buzzwords and stuff around business. And Forbes has sort of nailed the top ones, haven't they?
They have, Mark. I was reading this article last week, and I thought of you because I know how much you hate buzzwords. And so I thought, you know what, this is a good test for me as well, because after I read this article, since then I've done a couple of meetings with teams and a couple of presentations. And Mark, they just fly out of your mouth, and so I've been real mindful of these. But I just thought I would share them with your audience, just to make. My suggestion is try to limit it to one every 3 paragraphs. It's almost hard to see. So let me run through them, Mark. The first one is shift the paradigm. You've heard that.
Oh God, yeah.
Paradigm, which is obviously a convoluted way of saying, look, you need to think differently about something. People often talk about core competency. That's another one that gets thrown around. That's a big one, and that really just says, look, her key strength is this, as opposed to her core competency. Mark, what about buy-in? I struggled with this one because, like, buy-in sort of says buy-in, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it's when they come up with a word for something which is perfectly, the original explanation, original description is fine. Yeah, buy-in. I don't have so much. I mean, paradigm shift. My heart sinks.
Oh, that one. And Mark, what do you think about empower?
Look, empower to me, it's like journey. If I hear someone talk about their bloody journey one more time, Harold, I'm going to scream.
There it is. Journey.
Oh, it's on the list.
The journey is on the list. It's number 12. Best practice, Mark. I find myself saying that, so I put myself on a ban for a week. I cannot use the phrase best practice. Mark, certainly you've heard this one. That's think outside the box.
Oh, yeah. I've heard you use that term, Harold.
Oh, I know, Mark.
Not often.
There are a few on this list. Now, here's one I try not to say, and that one is moving forward.
I tell you why that's one of my. When I was in China, I saw this. I bought some posters. I love that sort of Chinese art and the old Mao, the Cultural Revolution posters. And I bought this one. I had it in my office at TV and said, with the translation underneath, and it was Mao saying, moving forward. It was that phrase was in it because there were these execs there at the time who used to use it all the time, and we used to say, who wants to move backwards?
Exactly.
Who wants to actually move backwards? This is asinine.
If you could read the thought bubbles, the private thought bubbles, like cartoon thought bubbles over people's heads sitting in an audience when these words are thrown at them, it would just be hilarious. Here's one, Mark. Lots of moving parts. We both are going to be. And then burning platform. Now, that one's been around for a while. You need a burning platform in order to get people motivated, and so those are some of the ones. Mark, you mentioned on the journey. Oh, move the dial. That's another one.
Move the dial. Look, the journey thing. The problem with these things is they become. You'll just then discover it everywhere. Everyone picks up in these phrases, and I compare it to sports broadcasting, because sports, they'll pick up this sudden thing, Everyone's got the wood on someone. That became the sort of, that became the phrase. And
you're right. You're absolutely
then there was the go forward was a big one there for a while. But these things like sort of journeys and stuff like that, going forward drove me mad because it was sort of like, sorry, why are you saying this stuff to us? I mean, it's like sort of saying, exactly as you said before, what, we want to go backwards? No.
Yeah, it's people trying to be clever, and it's the sense of just overuse of metaphor, and if it sounds corny to you as you're even thinking about it or putting the words down on the page, again, what I would say to people is, because it's just part of it, sits at the unconscious level and it just slips into our language, but just try to limit it to maybe every 3 or 4 paragraphs. Maybe you have to just release and give one.
Low-hanging fruit was another favourite for a while there. You know, we've got to deal with the low-hanging fruit in this going forward on this journey.
What do we do with the low-hanging fruit going forward on this journey? I love it, Mark.
I reckon, Harold, you could do you should look at formulating an entire presentation based solely on all these sort of cliched and sort of popular buzzwords.
You know what? Okay, you have thrown the gauntlet down. You have thrown it down, my friend. And I am going to think seriously about that. But I have pledged to you that I am going to go 1 week without trying to use any of those phrases.
All right, we'll check in with you next week and see whether you're able to live up to that promise. Dr. Harold Hillman, always great to have you on board. Don't forget, check out Harold's website, sigmoidcurve.com.